There's a new number 3 in town. If you haven't seen the news, Cardano, or ADA, has moved into the number 3 spot in overall market cap in the entire cryptosphere. That is really exciting. And in this video, we're going to cover what some of the drivers are for that movement, some very exciting things that we've all been waiting for on a really long time. And we're also going to kind of take a peek at the overall direction or roadmap of the entire Cardano ecosystem. I'm very excited to cover this because I've mentioned Cardano a lot in my videos, but never really done an actual review on it. Well, today that's going to change, my friends. We're jumping into Cardano and why this crypto has so much in store and so much promise for its investors. You don't want to miss this video. All this and a whole bunch more coming right up. Hey friends, I hope you guys are doing great today. Wes Spencer here. So good to be with you. Also good to be back in the studio again. Once again, a lot of travel, been all over the country of late, and that's been fun, but man, it's really good to be back and just diving back into cryptos that interest me, which is what I do on this channel. In this channel, there's no moon pumping. There's none of that, hey, this crypto is going to make you a millionaire this year, and then side note, 2 weeks later, I'm going to tell you it's, you got to dump it all. We don't do that on this channel. In this channel, we stick to just the technology and the things that interest me in terms of the cryptocurrency world and the financial freedom that it gives us. And I also cross-correlate into other things too, like, I don't know, cybersecurity, startups, entrepreneurialism, all of these things that interest me. So I'm so glad you've joined us. And if it is your first time here, hit the like and subscribe. It goes a really long way for me and for you as we build all of this out. Also, last thing I'll say very quickly is, see that join button down there? Actually, I should say down here because it's over there actually. Go click on that and check it out. I've got memberships available. Would love for you to support me. That would mean a lot, and it's a great way for you to connect with me. So definitely check that out and see if that is for you. All right, so let's jump into Cardano today and talk about why it's exciting. We know that there's been tons of buzz around this. I mean, I remember Cardano like 5-6 years ago. People would reach out to me and be like, hey, it seems like this offshoot of Ethereum, and it's very similar to its trajectory. And as we look over time, when we kind of see what's happened in Cardano, it's always wanted to be this very innovative crypto that is trying to be what Ethereum wants to be, right? That's kind of a good way to look at it. For example, Ethereum is moving as quickly as it can to proof of stake, but they are having to do that carefully. As you would expect, being the number 2 crypto in all market cap, you don't want to just quickly move Ethereum directly into proof of stake willy-nilly. You could cause a lot of problems that way. And the challenge that Ethereum has that Cardano hasn't but is getting ready to is this. You've got to be careful when you have millions of users and you have so much writing on the platform. You've got to be careful in its progression. Another way to look at that is Ethereum has kind of taken Bitcoin's sort of approach and challenge of being slow to adopt and methodical. I remember the old days of Bitcoin, 2011, 2012. Hard forks were not as big of a deal, and you were seeing lots of innovation in it. And it's not that Bitcoin has slowed down in innovation. It's more that it's just got to be very stable and careful. And really, Ethereum has that same challenge as well. And so many people kind of look at Cardano as they don't have that challenge. They can go right into just from scratch be a proof of stake crypto. And they can do a lot of stuff around speed improvements. And when people look at where like Cardano's going, that's a big thing that they talk about. It's like this new innovative thing. It's this thing that's way more innovative than Ethereum is. And that's why they say it's an Ethereum killer. I don't really think that's true. I don't think a lot of the major cryptos that are out there, I think we should stop looking at them as like, this is the killer of the one that's one market cap above it. See, this whole viewpoint that people take of like, hey, what's the one crypto that's going to rule them all is, I think, a foolhardy way to think about it. I don't look at it that way in the stock market, right? I don't look at, which one is going to supplant Apple. What's going to be the number one the number one stock, there we go, of all time. No, we look at them as they all have their own place. And while some compete with each other, the stock market as a whole, I look at it as an entire group, a portfolio of which ones are best for me. And that's the way we should think with crypto as well. As we're continuing to see new people come in for the very first time, investors, technology innovators, whoever it may be, that's a good thing. And I don't think it's about Cardano beating Ethereum and killing off Ethereum. I don't think that's a good way to look at it at all. I think there's room for everybody in this ecosystem as we continue to see more use cases grow. And so I look at Cardano much more as a very innovative product, a very innovative ecosystem that has a very clear roadmap of where it's wanting to go and has had some head starts on Ethereum just because it's younger and newer and there's more they can do with it. And so what I thought I would do today is we're just going to take a peek at Cardano. We're going to look at where it's going in the market right now, and then we're also going to take a peek at the roadmap, because I don't think enough of us really understand where Cardano's roadmap is going and where we're at in it, and why some of the recent changes today, or really this month, that have taken place are so important for where Cardano's going. So let's do that. I'm going to share my screen out as I normally do with you, my friends. And here we go. You can see this, a new number 3. Cardano has supplanted Binance Coin. And by the way, no shame to Binance Coin. What an awesome platform Binance has been, especially in this age of, all these burn tokens that are coming out and Ethereum not being able to support them very well. Ethereum has struggled, and you guys know I've covered this in this channel before in like my jokingly Ethereum you suck video. You can go check that one out right there if you want to go see it. But I was just, talking about the challenges Ethereum had at scale, causing super high costs for transactions in Ethereum. And so a lot of tokens were being built towards Binance Coin, and that kind of use case really grew its capabilities. Cardano missed on all of that. You may not know this, but at this point in time, Cardano does not support smart contracts. That's getting ready to change. But we can see right here, Cardano has actually supplanted Binance Coin as the number 3. It's looking at $88 billion market cap. That's amazing. So if we click on this and look, we scroll down, we can see, I remember right over here, I actually bought some Cardano in that 80 cent category way back in 2018. And then it continued to falter and go flat. And the reason for this big long time of everything being flat was there was a lot of technology that had to be built to sustain the hype. And many cryptos struggle with this. If you look right here, this is the hype cycle. Lots of, whoa, this thing's going to be amazing. Buy, buy, buy. And then, of course, as the entire market crashed, it crashed as well. But as we continue to see, this huge silent time, being able to buy and swoop up a Cardano for pennies was pretty amazing. And then slowly it's grown. And this growth right here is also the same thing. It's a hype cycle. It's all of the new technology that was finally starting to come to fruition, which causes YouTubers like me to cover it, which causes podcasters and all of the gossip and buzz that people say, maybe this thing really is going somewhere. So it would have been better to buy for sure back here. But if you think about where Cardano's going and its capabilities, I still think the price for it at under $3 long term is probably a good investment, given the capabilities that are coming out of it. So I just wanted to point this out. And then you'll notice this huge spike. I mean, we can take a look at this 1 month right here and notice this consistent growth that's happening here and the volume of trading. So what's causing all of that? Well, the biggest thing that's causing this is what's coming out with some of the new hard forks, that the technology that's being released with the next hard fork. And it's giving us some capabilities that finally let it rival Ethereum in some really important ways. So we'll take a peek at some of that. One of the ways we can see this is we can just click news right here, and you're going to see a bunch of things that are all abuzz that are just coming out now. This DC Spark project, for example, is building development in Cardano for Ethereum compatible sidechains. That's kind of awesome. What that's going to give us the capability of doing is bringing in Ethereum projects and have them interoperate on Cardano. But in order for that to happen, something else has to happen first. Cardano needs to go through some changes to allow smart contracts into its ecosystem. And that right there, my friends, is the big difference. That right there is the thing that is causing, in my mind, so much attention, so much salivating for Cardano to say, finally, smart contracts are coming out. That's a big deal. And a lot of people are wanting to buy to get in on that. And that's a huge reason of why we're seeing the price continue to go up over time. Now, why are smart contracts so important? Well, for those of you that are not really familiar with that, and I think most of my followers should be, but you look at what Ethereum has done, it's truly changed the game as one of the very first cryptocurrencies that has allowed, or really I should say blockchains, that has allowed for the capability for us to write code that can be authenticated and used on the blockchain itself. That's what's given rise to DeFi. That's what's given rise to NFTs. That's what's given rise to all of these tokens that are out there, many of which that I cover that I have interest in, like FEG and SafeMoon and Shiba and all of these big tokens, smart burn tokens that are out there. The power of that, it runs on Ethereum and Binance because those are smart chain enabled. And it's not that Cardano has never wanted to go that direction. It's just been one thing at a time in the roadmap to get there. And congratulations, in the next few months, we are going to see the release of Cardano having smart contracts being released in its next hard fork. And that's very, very exciting news. So what I thought I would do is let's look at the history of Cardano. We're going to take a look at its major eras. See, these eras are what they talk about when they kind of think through the big direction, the big roadmap of where Cardano's going. Now, we could spend hours diving into each era, but what I'm going to do is stick high level and just talk about the major eras themselves. So the very first era that Cardano went through is called the Byron Era. And this was the very beginning of the platform itself. And so I'm going to be pretty quick on this one. This one was all about really building the initial code base itself. And they were smart at the very beginning to make sure that the very early stages of Cardano would release the actual crypto itself, what's called ADA. And by the way, if you ever wonder like where ADA comes from, people will ask that. Like, why is this thing called Cardano, but the ticker is ADA? Like, why is that? Well, it's actually named after Ada Lovelace. See, if you look at all the naming mechanisms for Cardano, they follow famous scientists and famous scientific pioneers, including Byron. So I think that's a really cool thing. And so it's called Ada in honor of Ada Lovelace. You can Google her and do your own research on her should you wish. But really the Byron era was just about, let's make sure out of the box the crypto exists and the capability exists for us to allow users to buy and sell and trade. So that's what that was all about. Pretty simple. Now we're currently in this stage, this era right now. We're getting ready to exit this era. But the Shelley era was all about really node incentives. You know, one of the things that Cardano wanted to make sure they did as an open source project is ensure that it's very decentralized. That it's not just one group or one small team that's running everything. And so one way they did that as a proof of stake project is there's incentives for people to run nodes. In other words, the more nodes we run, the more decentralized it is, the better staking works, and the more secure the entire ecosystem gets. You may not know this, but at this current time, Bitcoin has that problem. There's no incentive for users to really run nodes, at least not financial incentives. And so they really wanted to think about that in terms of Cardano, the whole project creator saying, let's make sure that we create the ability for there to be incentives for people, for those that run nodes themselves. And that's a good thing. And so that's really what Shelley has all been about, and a lot of like bug fixes and scalability improvements all around that. And as we exit the Shelley era, we come into the era that I think is the most exciting for users, which is what we're beginning to see right now, is the Basho era. And the reason this one's very exciting is at the very beginning, what really kicks off this era is what's called the Alonzo Hard Fork. The Alonzo Hard Fork is what is introducing for us the capability for smart contracts to exist in Cardano. And as I've said before, this is not like some willy-nilly, hey, it'd be great to do that. No, they've always wanted to do this. It's just been one thing in its time as they go through and progress through the roadmap of Cardano. And so what's great about this is we're going to see, once we see the introduction and the full release of the Alonzo Hard Fork, we're going to see not just smart contracts exist, but side chains exist as well. And that's great because it's going to allow, as I showed you in that news article, those list of news articles from CoinMarketCap, the capabilities of all of this interaction between EVM and I would assume other, maybe like Polkadot and other really great sidechain capable cryptocurrencies as well. And what that does, and I've covered this in many other videos, but sidechains are so exciting because it allows for us to have interoperability. That lets us, maybe one developer who's done some very innovative things in their own native token or cryptocurrency can use sidechains to interact with something else that's been built on another one. And I can't express enough how important that is. Because if I'm a developer of some kind of project, and let's say I choose Cosmos, for example, I don't want to be limited to only Cosmos-based stuff. I want to be able to say, hey, this other project that's been written on Ethereum, or maybe one day Cardano, I'd love to be able to interoperate with that and bring it into my ecosystem. This is very common stuff in the world of software. APIs allow this kind of thing. And I kind of look at sidechains as sort of APIs that give us the ability to integrate or interoperate with other projects. And that is a huge piece of scale that we absolutely need in the crypto world to allow for us to have those awesome capabilities of one platform interoperating with another platform. It's really, really big deal. And so that's really what the Basho era is all about. And we're going to see that come about very, very soon once the Alonzo Hard Fork comes through. Now, what's after that? Well, that's the Voltaire era. And Voltaire, once again, another very famous scientist. And I like this one as well. This is a real introduction into allowing users to have a voice. Cardano has absolutely and always wanted the community to be able to vote and to have governance very similar to a DAO, and maybe we could just call it a DAO. But this is where we'll see after the last era, we'll see the concentration of how can we get our users involved on the governance side of the house. And that's also going to include a treasury system. Stay tuned for more details on how that will formulate and what it will look like. But I kind of look at it as like a government treasury system run by the Cardano project, very similar to how that might work, but with the capabilities of users having a say and a voice in it. So we'll cover that on a future video once we have more facts on what that whole treasury mechanism might look like. But just know the Voltaire era is really all about giving capabilities in Cardano for its users to have a voice and a say. And they also talk about as well, those that stake in the system will have input on the roadmap itself, which I think, again, is a very important thing. In other words, it's a way of saying, look, I'm staking XYZ, and this is very important to me. And all these others that are also staking, it's also important to them. So we can make sure that those users have a say in the roadmap and future direction of Cardano, so that we'll continue to incentivize those that are actually using it, those that have skin in the game. So there you have it. When you think about why Cardano is growing in its value over time, why its market cap is really blown up and it's now hit the #3 crypto all time, this is the reason why. It's a very clear roadmap. And as we get closer to that third era, the Basho era, that gives us the capability of sidechains and smart contracts and many of the things that Ethereum already has, that produces a lot of excitement for users because they're definitely from the investment side of the house thinking this is a big deal. We're going to see more and more innovation, which is going to cause the value of Cardano to go up overall. So I hope that helps. I hope that gives you some insight into the high-level roadmap of Cardano itself and why it's a really exciting crypto and why I think it really has a place in this world. I'd love to know what you think about Cardano. What are the things that you are most excited about? Any particular projects that you have heard rumors coming out, or any DeFi projects that you'd love to look at? Let me know. I'd love to know what you guys think about Cardano or other cryptos as a whole. I read every comment. I certainly don't have time to research and respond to every single one, but I absolutely read them all because you guys are super awesome. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate every single one of you here. And hey, while you're here, one last thing you could do for me, hit the subscribe button like I asked at the beginning. That would be a huge thing you could do. And definitely hit the like button as well, just to spread this through the almighty YouTube algorithms decision-making criteria for those that may not have seen this channel. All right, guys, thank you so much.